Should be recording now.
Obviously.
Right.
Oh, wait. Is it time?
Oh, hold on. Let me see if the voice changer's on. I don't want that to be on. I gotta get the raw voice.
We gotta get the raw voice.
Filters. Oh. Audio. Alright, none of the filters are on. You're free to speak.
Alright.
Speak your truth.
Favorite type of bread?
You know what? I'm glad you asked. Lots of these people these days are going crazy with all natural, multiple grain bread, epically garbage. Really, I wish I could see those nutters sit down and take a good bite of some raw, authentic rye or hearty whole wheat. That's the stuff that puts the hairs on your chest. My pappy used to say, good, strong, proper bread comes from the fields. We used to be farmers, you know, out near Maltic. Woo! Glad I moved here, though. Not so many places serve better rum than good old Joe Fash. Back to the point at hand, though. Bread. Man, oh man, I could go on forever about this.
We can tell.
You know what people always miss when discussing bread? The consistency. The consistency is the most important. Oh, haha. Consistently. Didn't mean to do that.
He seems distracted, best to walk away where he can.
No, I want to speak to him! I want to speak to him! To bread.
To bread.
Ah, there you are. The old train of thought gets derailed sometimes, you see. But I can tell you're a real enthusiast for bread.
Yep.
Back to the top of your hand. Consistency. Consistency is consistently the most important part of any good loaf. Overrushed so-called refined grains is sure and done with a runny slop that's not fit for the pigs. Come to think, you shouldn't even be it's harder. Of course, digestion. A topic I'll
Your
get to
mic
later.
is breaking! Please!
Anyway, the whole grains are where the money's at. I swear it on these plants. What you want is a thick, crusted, chewy loaf that you can savor. Not some frail morsel that collapses under its own weight. Why? The things I've seen.
He begins a list of seemingly endless amount of examples.
Nah, we need more.
We need more.
Bread.
YouTube is gonna love this video.
Yeah, they are.
Looks like he's nearly finished. I don't think so.
In particular, have you seen some of the scraps sold at Osmore? With Sword? Ridiculous. I'll let you know a little secret. This guy's kitchen great and all, but what passes for bread is intolerable. No substance at all. What you want to do is get straight from the fields, right from the soil. Well, not literally, but from the countryside. Leave bread making to the wolves who've been working with grain before they can even walk on two legs. Heck, I bet even I can do a better job than those snobby sauciers. You're right, digestion. The fiber in whole grain is a real lifesaver. Did you know that whole grain bread has 4 times the fiber of white bread? Now you do. Helps keep you full and fit. Want to avoid looking like a loaf of white bread yourself? Fiber's your man. Nothing beats a rich, fresh, ground, fresh baked loaf with a slab of flat iron steak, red meat, and fiber makes a real man, as my pappy once said.
He seems he's lost in remnants.
No, we gotta continue. Bread.
Bread.
Oh, how time flies. Where was I? White bread. That stuff's poison, I tell you. Not a lick of nutritional value. It's more milk and sugar than bread. Hardly something you want to eat. Never mind for which you'd pay extra. Those hoggers can pretend that is an upper crust good all they want. We all know that's a waste of dough. Idiot. Sorry. I'll get the train back on track. Blending grains? Why? Jumble the flavors and textures? Just make 2 loaves of bread instead of 1, or several, if we're talking more than 2 types of grain. Say, that reminds me. Bread's probably the most versatile food. You can make it from just about any type of grain. But just because you can make it doesn't mean that you should. Who could stomach, like, oatmeal bran fusion delight? Who would even make bread out of oats? Just a waste of food, in my opinion. Sure, it may not be the hottest culinary sensation now, but it'll die like any other idiotic fad just these days. I'm positive no one's eating it for the taste. Just for sure. Like the 7 colors of the grain, bro. Or hearty fantastic. Or
He doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon. Right.
and don't get me started on pain out synfris. But really, oatmeal bran fusion lies among the worst. Oh, that reminds me about a better use for oats. If you want to avoid being 3 sheets to the wind after a busy night of Joe Fast rum, then eat a hearty bowl of your oatmeal. Sounds crazy, I know, but it actually works. Take it from me, I've tried it. Well, anything made of grain helps. Oats are particularly good at this. And I bet my bread that you'd rather eat oatmeal than oatmeal bran fusion delight, whatever that's supposed to be. It almost seems like you can't just get any good loaf of bread nearby. Sure, that Salem biscuits will that hardly qualifies. I can't stomach the fancy stuff. So I just make my own. Not only is it cheaper, it also tastes much better. It isn't too difficult. Besides the obvious, you'll just need some salt and some yeast. Or something to write with. You hear? Take some notes.
Seems like he's waiting expectantly.
I'm taking lots of notes
Okay,
right
I'm
now.
getting
on
on my.
this.
Don't worry, I just got out my notepad.
Yeah, time to take notes. We're gonna get quizzed.
We're gonna get quizzed.
Right, ready. Let's get started. The less grains you use, the closer you'll get to making a real loaf. Not the wannabe pound cakes eaten by wannabe spendthrifts. There's a common misconception that you need sugar to yeast to start rising. Not true. Give it some time, and the bread without sugar will rise just as well. But you want something good, you need to put in time and effort for it. Get it right, and you'll have perfect taste and texture for nothing more than a few hours of your time. Let me make it clear. You don't want sugar in your bread. It'll do a number on its taste in your teeth. I'll cover the taste first. Sugar fights the raw, savory flavors of an otherwise respectful lovely bread. It also fights with your teeth. Bread's quite sticky as it is, and the sugar doesn't do it any favors. Why? I can still remember the time I got a cavity, crying my eyes out, I did. Eventually, my pappy had enough. He went for the good old string on a doorknob trick. He got me good there, though it took him a few tries.
He's thoughtfully rubbing his jaw. Best leave him be. No.
No, it seems like I got distracted. Back to the topic at hand. So I'm gonna get quite as much of an effect on your digestion than coarse ground whole grain bread. It keeps most of the fiber intact overall. You know how fruit juice contains next to no fiber because none of it goes into the juice? It's the same deal with white bread. Fruit juice was banned in my household, as my pappy liked to say. A real man only drinks hard spirits and sweat running down his face. No, I wasn't allowed to have the former. Not yet, at least. So I drank milk instead. Say, if you haven't done so already, try bread dipped in milk. Go on. There's nothing quite like it. Don't actually drop the bread into milk, of course.
I tried that. It's actually really good.
Oh.
You'll end up with a bloated mess with the consistency of sponge. And should know by now the consistency is everything. While we're on the subject of milk, do you know how some folks can drink it? Oh yes, they can try, but sooner or later their belly will protest. It's the same deal with bread. Stick with the whole grain, nothing added. That way, you don't have to worry about the surprise milk appearances and whatnot. You got that? Let me know when you're ready for more. Say, you know what? I ought to talk a bit slower to help you digest what I'm saying. Oh, digest! I did it again.
He's beaming with pride.
Imagine being lactose intolerant.
I'm not getting him more dialect. Hold up. There we go.
Oh. Bread.
Right then. Something that really pees me is people use baking powder. What's wrong with some good old yeast? Too little of it will plumb flatten up it. Just a little too much of it and your bread's going to be as bitter as wormwood. The only way to get a size that's just right is the long way. Wait until the yeast works its magic and bake it right as it reaches the good size. There's also nothing like the smell of yeast as it causes the dough to rise. Breaks up quite the appetite, it does. Some people put the cart before the horse and think that yeast works like baking powder. Try that and you'll end up with some scorching hot bricks in your oven. Now, you have to do it right. Doing it right means leaving some of the work to the yeast. Unless you like flatbreads, I can't see why anyone would, though. Bread's supposed to be puffy and chewy, not some dough jerky. Though it may not be the case for some other pastries. For one, I've never heard of a pie with a chewy crust. Really, the beauty in the bread lies with its simplicity. No complicated steps, no chances for the dough to rebel. Certainly not as fickle as something like cream puff. If you treat the dough with respect, the bread will respect you in return. It's simple stuff, really. No finicking around with the stiff peaks, or needing half a dozen bowls to mix in, or getting a flaky dough just right, or
He proceeds to rattle off. Oh, he proceeds to rattle off several grievances about pastry making. Bread.
not to mention that just about everything needs butter in some shape or form. Really, what's with it? It's not like the stuff grows on trees. Making it pastry shiny, making it taste rich, making the dough thick. There's no end to it. That's so much simpler to handle. Though some people insist on putting butter in the bread. Not just on it, but in it. There's more butter than bread at that point. I don't have anything against butter itself, mind you. It's great on toast. I just think it ought to stay in the toast rather than in it. Not to mention that there's a time, place, and occasion for it. You put butter on everything, you're gonna get sick of it real quickly. Eat it in moderation. Your tongue in your emerald pouch will thank you. Of course, there's always margarine. Why settle for something inferior? You should settle for anything less than the quality you expect from your bread. Though, now that I look at it, bread does get a reputation for being a breakfast food. That's ridiculous. That's got a place in a meal. It's got a place in every meal today.
You're damn right it does.
Sandwiches!
I mean,
hell yeah.
in case we're gonna get what's the word? Age
Demonetized.
restricted on YouTube,
Oh.
demonetized, diddly darn.
Ah, frick frack.
Sandwiches!
Yes!
They
He's
got
a
bread
real
in
one.
it,
He knows about
casserole.
sandwiches.
I even heard of one that's a shell. Breadsticks? Is it a name for crying out loud? Done right, and it's also great as a side. I already mentioned having a fresh ground, fresh baked, loaf of whole grain with a slab of flat iron steak, but really, a well-sliced loaf and some dip and butter can transform my family there into a banquet. They're almost as versatile as potatoes. Actually, even more, I'd say. As my pappy liked to say, every man's got to earn his daily bread through his own toilet. As you can see, I take his advice to heart. I feel that I'm missing something important that I want to discuss. Hang on for a bit, would you?
You have to make 30 minutes.
It seems like he's deep in thought.
Bread.
Of course. I can't believe I forgot. I wanted to cover some thoughts about bread consistency. Namely, the chewy streams. Too chewy and not chewy enough. I already spoke on hardly chewy bread plenty. There's being as too much of a good thing. And in this case, bread chewiness is a good thing. You don't want your bread to be too chewy. Got it? Too chewy is a step right towards bread that's outright rubbery. Your teeth will bounce right off of it. Sure, too much gives in the dough awkward and sets you up for biting your own tongue. But too firm of a loaf can lead to much of the same. They always say never to bite off more than you can chew. But you ought to be careful not to bite off any less than that either. No, just right and chewy is what you want. Don't settle for anything more or less. Come to think, you seem really interested in discussing bread with me. Lean in for a second, would you? I've got something important to say.
I'm leaning in.
He's waiting. Oh, yeah.
The dialogue's weird now. It's like it's waiting for you to show
It
it.
is.
Listen, right? Sorry. I didn't mean to shout in your ear.
Mwah.
Oh yeah, he was supposed to be slowing down.
Oh.
You're just about the only person I've been able to have an honest conversation about bread with. Usually bread's been brushed off with some kind of dough fold or water. This business is too boring and plain, I tell you. That's what all these unnecessary excesses people try to make it into something that's not. But us, we're different. We're visionaries. We know the truth about what makes a good loaf. Tell them off, I say. They can't follow the thoughts of bread enthusiasts like you and I otherwise. All right. I never get to answer your question about my favorite type of bread. That is plain old coarse ground wheat.
What is that?
I don't know.
What is that?
Sure, it may be simple, but you paying any attention at all, you know for sure that's everything I'm looking for. Don't worry, I was.
Yeah, I took notes.
I just about sums up the basics. Let me know if you want to hear anything more.
That was beautiful. Can you talk to him again? What? What did he say?
Oh, let's get to read him.
Yeah, let's read. Go ahead. Come on.
Let's get to you.
He is great.
The recording's
Everything to
waiting
make you
for
wear a
us.
fancy hat. Have you ever wondered how corresponds to how well they bake bread and compared to someone else?
You don't have time for this.
No, we do. We do.
We do.
Yeah, we do. Oh. It's like they didn't want to write 5 billion articles on bread.
We would have.
Yeah, we would have. Remember to like and subscribe. Hit that like button. Hit that
Hit that
subscribe
like button.
Hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to our Patreon. Subscribe to our OnlyFans. For more for more Minecraft content. Yeah. Follow us on twitter.com and
yeah, x.com. My at is Zoquaz.
yeah.
XELQUAZ.
For president.
Zoquaz for president.
Like and subscribe. Peace out.